Second to get started. All right. Thank you all so much for joining us for our Google Sheets training session today. Just by way of introduction, I do see some new faces here. My name is Kelly, and I work on both the marketing and customer success sides of HiView. I'm pleased to be joined by Bernice from our project delivery team, who will be leading the training session today, as well as Jacobo from our cloud engineering team, who is present to answer any technical questions that you may have. So please feel free to leave any questions throughout the session, just right here within the Meet chat. We'll answer as many as we can during the session, and for any that we don't get to, I'll be sending out an email to all the attendees afterward with answers to those questions. All right, and then a bit about HiView for those of you who are unfamiliar. So our mission is building your business for tomorrow. So we focus on creating scalable solutions and lasting relationships with our customers, specifically on Google Cloud products. So just a summary of the products that we offer. Google Workspace, previously known as G Suite, which of course includes Google Sheets, Gmail, Slides, etc. Google Cloud Platform we also offer, as well as Google Voice, which is Google's voice over IP offering, and finally Chrome Enterprise for Chromebook device management. So if you use these but are interested in coming on board with a Google partner, or if you have questions about any of these products, please feel free to send us an email to hello@hiviewsolutions.com, and we'll be happy to get in touch. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to our trainer, Bernice. Take it away.
Thank you, Kelly. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I hope you're having an amazing week so far. For those of you who don't know me, because I do see familiar faces over here, I'm a change and project manager here at HiView Solutions. And in today's training, I'm going to show you my favorite 15 Google Sheet functions that I consider everyone should know about. For those of you who have not used Google Workspace before, this is the spreadsheet component, which is the equivalent of Microsoft Excel. There are some features that Google Sheet has that Excel doesn't have, and vice versa. For example, this is a web-based spreadsheet, and you have the ability to collaborate online with other people at work or school just by sharing the link that you have at the top. Sometimes when users make the transition to Sheets, they find it very challenging because the setup is completely different. But I'm going to try to help you potentially go through some of the feature sets that you might not know exist. And so this is the agenda that we have. We're going to look at some basic formulas, advanced features, and advanced formulas as well. Let's get started with the first one then. And the first one that we have on the list is unique. And what unique does is that it will look at the range and it's going to return only the unique values that discarding the duplicates. So I'm going to make this bigger so that we can see better. And like with any other formula, you start typing the equal symbol and you start typing the name of the function, right? So you click on unique, it will open the parentheses, and the parameter that you need is just to indicate the range. So the range, it's going to start on A2 all the way to A16. I go ahead and close the parentheses, press enter, and just like that, I now have the unique values from the first column. That's how unique works. What can we do with this information now? I can go ahead and count the name of, oh, well, the number of unique values that I got as a result. For that, I'm going to use CountA. So again, I start with the equal symbol and I choose from the dropdown. The dialog box show me what information I need. And in this case, I just need to type in the range. So I'm going to select the range. highlight it, and go ahead and close the parenthesis. Hit enter. So now it's telling me I have unique, well, 7 unique results out of this column. And that's so far we have reviewed unique and CountA. Let's go on to CountIf. So the
Per,
count, yeah, go ahead.
Bernice, sorry, yeah, probably before you move on, I've used that quite a few times already with deployment projects, making sure I don't have duplicate user accounts when provisioning. So it's very useful to have, yeah, the unique count.
Great, thank you. So the next option that we have, or the next formula that we have on our list, is CountIf. What this is going to do, or the purpose for this, is to count the values, but only if they meet the criteria. So first, we're going to be adding the range and then the criteria. I'm going to use count if. And for the range, I'm going to be analyzing it on the first column, so A2 all the way to A16, and I'm going to choose, or the criteria that I want to meet is the first one, the first name. So Smart Talk, that's what I want to count. Go ahead and close it and hit enter. So what this is telling me is that Smart Talk repeated twice from the first column. And if I want to do the same for the rest of the values, I just go ahead and click and drag all the way to the bottom. And I now have how many times each word repeated from the first column. So right now we have unique, count A, count if, and let's go to the next one. Let's go to the transpose option. But before we go into that one, do we have any questions that we want to?
No, we don't
No?
have any questions yet. Please feel free to leave a question, or if you have any questions in the chat box, it's on the left, I'm sorry, right lower corner of
Yep.
your meet. All right, thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, so the transpose features, sometimes you will have information given to you in this way, right, in columns. But if you want to switch that over, there's two ways of doing that. You can go ahead and select the information, copy just by doing pressing Control C on your keyboard, or you can do a right click to copy the text. And then what I'm going to do is go to the cell where I want to paste the transpose data. Do a right click and I choose paste special and I select the option paste transposed. Very easy to do. Now I have the information given in the way that I want it to be. And the other method to do this is by using the formula. So I'm going to go ahead and type in the equal symbol and enter transpose. I now have to indicate the data range and close the parenthesis. And like that, I have the transposed information as well. The one thing that you want to notice about using the formula is that it's dynamic. So if I make a change here, it will be showing on the transpose data, but that's only when you use the formula. If you notice here at the top, that didn't change. So that's one thing that you want to keep in mind when you're using the transpose formula. The information that was transposed, it's dynamic. Also, if you have information here that was previously because you were working on that before, you will get an error. But don't worry, you just have to clear out the cells and the error will go away and the information, the transposed data will show up. So very easy to resolve. And that's how you use the transpose feature. Let's go to import range. So with the import range, you want to use that when you want to bring information from a different spreadsheet. And for that, you want to keep in mind that since these are separate spreadsheets, you have to use the unique ID. So the URL that you have at the top, that's a unique identifier for this spreadsheet. And this is completely different from the one that I'm working on. Okay, so I'm going to start typing. I use the equal symbol. Then I use import range. It opens the bracket, right? And now it's telling me that I have to type in the URL of the other sheet that I want to make the call out from. So go ahead and copy the URL and paste it on my formula. And also notice that this is using quotation marks. So you want to type those in, right? So I type it in, then I type in the comma, and it's telling you that it needs the name of the sheet that you're working on and the data range, because it's possible that you have multiple sheets here on your other file. So it's telling me that it needs the name of the sheet and then the date range. Go ahead and type that in. So that was, again, quotation mark and the name of the sheet that was Q&A, exclamation mark. And we are going to bring the information from A1 all the way to, it was H5. So I type that in. Oh, oops. I'll close it out and I have to use the quotations. If it's the first time you're using the import range, you will get a reference error. But that reference error is just letting you know that you need to grant access for this sheet to read the other sheets. Even though you are the owner and both of the files are on your Google Drive, you need to grant access to be able to fetch the information from the other spreadsheet. And just like that, now you can continue working with the information that you need to analyze. Okay, so now we have covered all of the basic formulas all the way through import range. Do you guys have any question? No.
Yeah, feel free to unmute yourself if you'd like to ask any questions. We haven't gotten any in the chat, so if you'd prefer to speak up, go for it.
Yeah, go ahead. So another way to do this is if you want to make a call out from a different spreadsheet, you can use the name ranges. So that would make my life easier. Instead of having to type in the name of the sheet, I go ahead and select the data range. I want to do a right click and then I want to choose the option define name range. So I click on that, and the name that I'm going to give to this is questions. Now, this is case sensitive. So I want to go ahead and click on done. And when I'm making the call out for that data set, I want to make sure to use the correct name. So I go ahead and type it, and I have the same information. So that's a great feature. Instead of having to type the name and the cells, you just type in the name of the range that you designated. That's how you would use the name ranges.
Hey,
That's
Brittany, that's great. I've been just using the ranges all the time, so that's gonna make my life easier actually for future projects.
Thank you, Jacob. Glad to hear that. So let's go with the next function, which is filter view. So with filter view, let's say that you are giving this set of data or even bigger, but worry not. You can use the filter view by clicking on data. Then you go to filter view, and I'm going to create a new filter, and I can designate a name. Let's say that I want to look at the movies, the action movies only. So I type in action so that I can easily identify it later on. And I go ahead and filter the information by clicking the filter over here. I can uncheck all of them at once by clicking on clear. Then I go ahead and click on action. And I just have to click on OK. And now it's giving me the information that I need just for the action movies. Now, what's a good thing about this is that if there were other people looking at the same file, I have not affected their work. I'm only working or making this filter on my view of the file. So also, this is available if I want to share this filter view with other people. They will be able to find it by going to Data, Filter View, and my filter is right here. So we can both look at the same filtered information.
Yeah, Bernice, if I can jump in there, it's one of my favorite features, I'd say. It's really nice. For example, something I was using it for recently, building like a communications plan with different audiences. So being able to filter it out for each audience without affecting anyone else's view is really helpful. Um, Anik, I believe you raised your hand.
Yes.
Do you want to share a question?
Yes, I
Hmm.
have a question. So you mentioned that if multiple users are basically using the same Excel sheet, and if I put the filters on the sheet, it will not affect their work, and they will still see the sheet as they are reviewing. But this was not happening. I mean, is this a new feature in this now? Because until yesterday, it wasn't working like this.
Okay, so it's different when you are using this filter function that you have here at the top. And let me try to delete this filter so that you can take a look into that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm going to delete. Okay, so this filter over here, if I select all the information and then I click on this filter, this will affect anyone looking at this file. So if I go ahead and look at, I'm going to choose biography. So I have to click on filter and then I go to the column that I need to filter out. I'm going to choose biography. So this affects everyone. When you do it like this, when you use this icon, this
Mm-hmm.
will affect everyone working on the same sheet. But if you do it from data and then you go to filter view, create a new filter, that's only for you.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, this
Thank you.
answers the question. Thank you.
Great. And I think we had another question about the video recording. Yes, that will be available, but that was answered already. So thank you for that. Yes, we have another question from Rahat.
Hey, a follow-up question over here. Just like you mentioned that you are able to view the filter and the multiple users can view the same filter as well, and it won't impact the work of any other person working on the same file if
Hmm.
we go and select it from data. Um, can we also do it through the drop down over here in the filter? Yes, this one. Yeah, the drop down.
Yeah,
Create new filter view.
that's
Yeah,
another
that would
option.
work. Yes, that would work in the similar way it's working in the data field, right?
Exactly. Yes. So create
Awesome.
new filter view. It's the same as doing it from the data menu, but not when you
Awesome.
click on the icon.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for that call out. All right. Any other question? Okay. It looks like no, we don't have any other question. Let's continue with, let's see what we have on the slide. Uh, okay, conditional formatting. Let's use conditional formatting then. So for conditional formatting, it's good example or a good use case is when you have information. Let's say that you're working with your sales team, or you want to see what coworkers have already met the deadline. In that case, the conditional formatting is very useful. Let's take a look at that. So I'm going to highlight the information, highlight the data range, sorry. Then you do a right click and then you go to conditional formatting. And I want this, or the rule that I want to set up is that any payment less than $15,000 should be highlighted in red so that I can easily find that information without having to go line by line. And now, whenever I have any payment less than $15,000, it's going to be highlighted in red.
Yeah, Bernice, definitely want to mention this is a really useful feature, especially if you're into color coding. Personally, I like to use it in combination with creating a drop down menu. So it's kind of helpful where I can select a stage or a certain attribute of one of the data points, and then it'll automatically change colors. So it's really easy to look at a sheet and say, for example, oh, this is red. I need to focus on this first, or this is okay. This is blue. This is taken care of. Something like that. So definitely recommend making use of that feature.
Exactly. Thank you for pointing that out, Kelly. And the next topic that we have is the assisted analysis that you have available on your Google Sheet. So the assisted analysis, it's by clicking on Explore. When you click on Explore, you can, well, this will help you understand and visualize your spreadsheet by asking questions. So if I want to know what was the most payment amount, I go ahead and ask the question, and this will give me the formula. So I can go ahead and copy this and drag it to my data set so that I can start working based on that formula. Another option is that just one click away, I can have the formatting or the color change for this data set. And this will give it a professional look just by doing a single click. If you ask me, this is one of the best features. You also have um, forgot the name, graphics. That's what you call them. It gives you, or it makes you suggestions about graphics. So this is basically analyzing the information for you and easy to access. So I'm going to delete this off the way because I need you to look at the next function, which is the cell history.
Oh,
Before I go in,
Bernice,
yeah, uh-huh.
sorry to interrupt. There's one other question about conditional formatting.
Mhm.
It says, what about a conditional formatting function where it highlights where the data is duplicated in the range?
Duplicated in the range. So yeah, you can definitely
I think we looked
highlight
into this, right,
duplicate.
Bernice?
Yeah, when we were uh,
Yeah, we were
selecting the
getting,
topics.
that's right. We actually looked into this. It's possible, although it's not probably,
I don't
uh,
think it's possible because it's available in Excel, but I've tried doing it in Google Sheets. It just doesn't have a duplication function where you can color code it. That's from my understanding. That's the question.
right. So you can use the custom formula for that and color coding. So it would let you do conditional format rules with a formula. So you can use that. Do you still have that formula, Bernice? We can probably show that really quick.
I think, well,
If not, we
You
can
can send
follow
it
up.
over later on
Sure,
in the
sure.
question and answer. That's fine with me. Just
No, no problem. But I see where you're going. Yeah, we definitely looked into this. We didn't want to include it because it's probably best for us to use the unique and counts just to show that. But definitely, it's possible. We did that, so we'll follow up with you.
yep, great. Thank you. So the next option that we have is Incell history. And I find this very important to know because sometimes you will find that a cell changed, the information that you had on a cell changed, and you don't know who made that change. Of course, you have version history, right? But with the cell history, you just need to do a right click and click on the option Show Edit History. This will give me the name of the person who made the change and what was the previous value. And I can go as far as, um, well, from the beginning of the document, and I can continue reviewing the information, right? And restore that value manually. So that's what we have for advanced features, the Incell history. Great. So do we have any question or should we move on to the formulas?
Yeah,
Okay.
anyone want to unmute with any questions before we move on?
No,
All
doesn't
right.
look like it. Okay,
Yeah, go
let's
for it.
go with the formulas then. So the first one is character count. This is good, for example, when you have to set up passwords for your users, when you are creating users, and there has to be a specific number for your password. So you can use the length formula, and very simple, just click well, sorry, type in the equal symbol, then length, open your brackets, and we're going to analyze or type in the number of the cell. And now I have the characters, the number of characters that are on the first cell. I have 25 characters now. If I want to do the same for the rest of the cells, I just go ahead and click and drag. And like that, I have all the information that I need. Very simple. But what if I need to, so that does it for the character count. What if we need to put the information together? Like if I, again, let's continue with the user creation example. And if I want to put the first name and last name together, for that, what I want to use is the concatenate feature, and that will put both strings together. So I just go ahead and type in equal, then concatenate, open the parentheses, and I indicate where I have the first string. Don't worry, this is not case sensitive. So I go ahead and close the parentheses and hit enter. What if I'm not creating users? I just need them to show together, but there should be a space in between. In that case, I go ahead and type in my quotation mark, leave a space, close the quotation mark, and another comma. Now I have the name, both strings, in one cell. And I go ahead and click and drag for the rest. And like that, I have my users in one single column. But it's very likely that you may want to do the opposite. What if you want to split the first name and last name because you got it all together? That's okay. You have the split function. So for split, you just have to type in equal, then split, and this takes two parameters, which the first one is where you have the text, right? And then you do comma, leave a space, and I want this to be separated by the at symbol. So after the at symbol, it's going to show me the domain name whenever I'm working with users. But you can use a different parameter or a different criteria for your own. So now I have the name separate from the domain name on this data set that I have here. Very easy again. So that's how you would use the split feature. And in some scenarios, you might be given information that is not all the way aligned to the left. And when you click on the align icon, the information it's just not moving away. Let me show you here. So if I highlight the information that I want to modify and then I click on align to the left, it's not doing it. How do we fix that? The easiest way to do that is by selecting the data. You want to click on data, and now you go to trim white space. And like that, I just had to highlight the information and go to the function. Now all my information is aligned all the way to the left. Do you guys have any question before I jump on the last two?
I just wanted to add that is actually something useful because I've done a couple of, and I know we're going to look into VLookups and some other formulas, but you may just get a reference error if you have additional spaces when you do a lookup. So excellent to know that there's a trim function.
Great. Thank you, Jacob. Yep, I see. Thank you, Anna, for bringing that up. It's not putting them together. So if I have Caesar here, that's because I'm using the different number. So you have to make sure you're using or indicating the correct name for the cell, the correct number. So now they are showing the correct first name and last name.
Good catch.
So good catch, Anna. Thank you. All right, so that was on concatenate. And what do we have next? VLookup. So what VLookup does, it's a way to find and match up data in Google Sheets. I'm going to remove this before I go to the VLookup. So let's say that I wanted to return the values for Smart Talk. I go ahead and click on VLookup. So since this is doing a vertical lookup, I need to indicate the word that I'm looking for. I do that by typing the value exactly as it is. So this should be Smart Talk. I close the brackets and I have to now indicate the range. Let me go ahead and select the information, select the data range, and sorry, I have to go back. So I put a comma and I start from A1 all the way to J6. So how am I, or what's the index? How am I going to indicate the value that I'm looking for? I'm looking for the payment that was made by this company, Smart Talk. So you indicate that by columns, and the number of the columns you have to start right from 1, 2, 3. So this is the payment column. It's the number 9. That's the index. And that's where I want the information to be shown to me. I go ahead and type that in. And with the VLookup, I now have the payment that was made by SmartTalk. And this was done by doing a vertical lookup. Now, let's go to the last function that we have on our topics today.
Oh, and if I may, Bernice, just to highlight.
Yeah.
So that's when I mentioned, let's say in one of those columns in clients, you had just an additional space at the beginning, then you can use trim. Otherwise, that will just return a reference error. So just to highlight that.
Thank you, Jacob.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. All right, so the last option or the last formula that we have, it's the query function. And this is the most complex formula, but if we use complex use cases, then it might not be so easy to understand. So let's start with an easy one. With the query function, I wanted to show me the payments that were made by Norway. And to use this formula, first I'm going to indicate the data set that I want to analyze, A1 to J6. Then I enter the comma, and I have to use the um, the query. The query that I want to use in this case is select. If you would like to learn more about using this query function, there are other, well, this is the help center specifically for this. I'm going to close this out. And there are different clauses to use this formula. So this is the specific order. You can use more than one clause, but for this demo, I'm just going to use the select clause. So I go ahead and type in select. Also, I have to use my quotation mark, right? So I type in select, then I have to indicate the columns, and this could be in different order. That's the good thing about query. It doesn't matter the order for the columns. And I want it to bring up or show me the information where the column contains the word Norway. And I'm going to type that in. So I now have to close my formula and the parentheses. So now it's showing me all the payments that were made by that country, Norway. That's how you would use the query function. And those are all the topics that we had
Um,
assigned for this demonstration. Go ahead, Jacob.
yeah, I just wanted to also mention that if you're enclosing any type of text that you want to find, because you're opening that in quotation, so that's got to be single quotes inside. So if it's double quotes inside, you have to do single quotes. Can you bring up the formula, Bernice? All right. So if you can, yeah. So if you see that's double quotes, and then inside, if you're gonna do a contains targeting a text, you have to use single quotes. Otherwise, that's gonna give you an error message. Or you can do it the other way around. So if you use single quotes, then you have to enclose the text inside with double quotes.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you, Jacob. Do you guys have any more questions or any other function that you would like that to be reviewed again, to go over?
And I actually got the answer for the conditional formatting that was asked earlier and
Oh,
duplicates. So if you can take a look
Mhm.
at, yeah, we're gonna demonstrate that in a moment. Bernice, can you take a look at, I'm just gonna paste it in the chat. I think you might still remember how that was done. I'll just give you the formula.
okay.
Formats. Right, I'll paste it here in the Google Meet chat.
Okay. Um, oh, I got it. Okay, so we're going to highlight the information, then right click. You want to go to conditional formatting, and we're going to use custom formula is, and this is going to be using CountIf.
That's right. So it's got a couple of more steps. It doesn't have like a proper user interface like Excel does, because you have just to select duplicate from a dropdown. But that's it. All you have to do is the conditional formatting, select you're going to use a custom
Yep.
formula is, and that should give you duplicates.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. Thank you, Kathy. All right. So do you guys have any more questions or?
Yeah, so I mean, at this point, we can move on to a general Q&A for anyone who doesn't have questions or doesn't want to stay along. Feel free to drop, but otherwise, happy to have you all stay, and feel free to unmute yourself if you have any questions, and we can address those.
I think we're good. Team, anybody has any questions?
Not me. No.
No questions. Just very good session. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll give another minute here in case anyone wants to chime in with any questions. Otherwise, yeah, thank you all so much for joining us.
And just for confirmation, all the participants are going to get the recording?
That's right. That's right. So just look out for a follow-up email from me. It'll include the recording.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, Anna. That email should be sent out soon.
Yeah, and do let us know if any other questions. We'd be happy to help.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Take care.
Thank you. You too, Saria.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording.
All right.